beach is this?
The Pacific on notice tonight after a powerful earthquake struck this afternoon. This is video from Russia as it was first felt.
Thankfully, no injuries as parts of the roof came down on a kindergarten school. Eyewitnesses report people were evacuating buildings, carrying their valuables as they went.
In Japan, crisis teams were helping people upstairs and onto rooftops as the tsunami sirens blared.
Yep, today, the earth moved with historic force that few have ever felt. That massive earthquake, one of the strongest ever recorded, struck off Alaska's coast, ranking as the 7th most powerful earthquake in history.
The 8.8 earthquake was southeast of the Kamchatka Peninsula. Tsunami alerts were immediately issued, stretching from Hawaii to the shores of California and up the Alaskan coastline. We will hear more on what is happening in Hawaii right now, but first, joining us live is Dave Snyder with the Tsunami Warning Center. Dave, thank you so much for joining us.
My pleasure.
And what have you learned so far in the last several hours, and who is currently at risk?
Right. We still have active tsunami alerts out for the central and western Aleutians and some of that going into the southwestern peninsula of Alaska. Those advisories and warnings continue at this point as we continue to watch the waves arrive to Alaska, remembering that a tsunami is not just one wave, but a series of powerful waves. And the first wave may not be the largest and certainly the last. So we're continuing to watch Alaska tonight. We have measured a tsunami in M8.8 and Adak, St. Paul. Most of those are around a foot or less. That's above the normal high tide. It's important to remember that a tsunami is not a wind wave or a surfing wave. It's not the gentle wave that we go to the beach to enjoy. It's a surge of ocean water coming ashore and getting dry things wet that normally are not wet. And that ocean flood is very powerful. It's the entire force of the ocean coming in. And we have to wait for several hours, sometimes even days, for that to settle back down after such a huge disturbance from one of the most powerful earthquakes in our lifetime.
Dave, we're hearing from parts of Alaska, including Adak. Could see some pretty good-sized waves through tomorrow morning. Is there truth to that? And I think you just touched on this, but for folks at home, the difference between waves and a tsunami, also we should note that the video you're watching right now from Russia earlier.
Right, and that is a good example of what the worst can look like. Thankfully, that's not what we're seeing in parts of Alaska tonight. I don't have indication of any damage or impactful waves that look like what you're seeing there with Russia. We're very fortunate for that. However, as things settle down, the natural inclination is to get back to business, and we all want to do that. But I would ask my Alaska neighbors to just be careful out there. The channels, the harbors, the bays, some of those tight spaces that you know better than anybody else, those can still be very tricky with unusual currents at the top of the water and also below the water. If you're doing any diving or anything underneath the water, working on craft, things could still be pretty unusual and dangerous for the next hours to days easily. So just be extra careful out there. And if you see something unusual, pay attention to that, let it settle out, and then get back to normal.
All right, thank you. This event captured the world's attention tonight, including many in Alaska. What is your message to those in the Western Aleutians and coastal communities?
We've had practice the last several months here. We've had several preparatory events here in the last couple of weeks, one of those just off of Sand Point. And every one of these events is a good wake-up call, a good reminder to heed local emergency alerts, and your local emergency management works hard to keep you safe. Pay attention to that information, that we work with them to help keep you safe. So please pay attention to that. And make sure that you've got multiple ways to get this type of information. Never rely on just one way, just one radio, just one web app, just one NOAA weather radio. All these things layer to keep all of our communities safe, and making sure that they all work is really important to make sure that each one of your devices is ready to go at a moment's notice, because the next event could be tomorrow. We hope not, but earthquakes work on their own time, so I have to be ready.
All right, Dave Snyder with NOAA. Thank you very much, Dave. We really appreciate you taking the time tonight.
You bet.
Listen, if you're in a safe place, stay there. And if you're not, do something about it. Get to higher ground.
Now to Hawaii, where the danger from a potential wave remains. As you can see, roads are clogged as people head for higher ground. And as a precaution, both Hawaiian Airlines and Alaska Airlines are holding their flights to the islands. And that leading to cancellations here at Ted Stevens International Airport.
Our own Justin Matson has been following this story today. He even spoke to an Alaskan who is in Hawaii. Here's the latest from Justin.
We don't really know the impact an earthquake will have and if it will generate a tsunami until the tsunami waves actually start to arrive on coastal tidal gauges. And so there'll be some time before we know.
When the 8.8 magnitude earthquake hit, alarms sounded quickly, with Alaskans reacting just as fast.
And we activated our tsunami siren, and we got everybody in town up to the tsunami shelter up on the hill at the Bering Hill Chapel.
And everybody in the community evacuated to there's an evacuation center that was built a couple of years ago. Everyone evacuated there, or some people went to even higher ground up at the water treatment plant.
Officials are offering sound advice.
Stay away from the coast. In the meantime, don't go swimming and do some of those activities that they might do next to the water with those watches in place.
And one Alaskan is in Hawaii, where people are prepping for tsunami waves.
Take them seriously. Even if we're from Alaska, we get them all the time, and we hear it, and we're kind of more the calm one.
While we all wait with held breath for the first wave to come in.
All right, now this is a developing situation. You're going to want to tune in to the morning edition tomorrow. Be sure to be checking our website, also our mobile app for more details.
And as we continue our team coverage tonight, let's check in with Jackie Purcell on how this day has progressed. I understand there have been dozens, actually closer to 30 aftershocks already, Jackie.
That's right. I've been tracking some aftershocks that are between 5 to 5.9 magnitude, and we're up to about 36, 37 aftershocks already from that massive earthquake just off shore from the Kamchatka Peninsula near Petropavlovsk. It was, again, 8.8 magnitude. And not only felt, and you can see some of those aftershocks that are spread around that initial earthquake, but it wasn't just felt across the Aleutians and where there is still that ongoing tsunami warning that Dave Snyder mentioned. Also, the advisory that it stretches from those coastal areas up to the Alaska Peninsula. But the watch has been dismissed from a lot of the coastal sections from South Central. But there is still concern, as we mentioned, all the way across the Pacific toward Japan into Tokyo. They're going to be watching what the water levels will be. Hawaii, of course, seeing those tsunami threats. And then the threat not only encompassing parts of the Pacific, but as far south as New Zealand. So this is something that is mentioned that you have to be so careful about. There's some of the observed wave heights. At Amchitka, not more than a foot, but at Atka Island, they saw about a foot level rise. And in Hanasaki, Japan, 1.1 feet. But in Nikolsky, Atka, Unalaska, it was all under 1 foot. So the biggest earthquake ever recorded on the planet, 9.5. That was the Great Chilean earthquake. But you can see that this one ranks at number 7. And it's not just the first time it's happened. They've also had a big one from 1952. That would be number 5 on that list at a 9.0 magnitude.